Oh, the comments on this video should be fun to read. Are you one of those people that has a specific love? No, you're an airsofter, you don't get any of that, calm down now. I'm talking about your love for a specific gun that you want to run or that you do run already exclusively, but one thing holds you back from really truly loving it. It's garbage build quality. AUG lovers, you should know this well. Well, let me piss off a lot of people all at the same time while attempting to act as if I know what I'm saying with a quick list over a few airsoft guns that I wish were made a lot better. For some of these picks, I might be just whining about a gun or two that no one and their dead pets care about, and for some others, they might have actually been a top competitor back in the day, but really need an update, like the first couple of picks I'm about to list, so hopefully you can follow along without jumping to conclusions. Now, not all the picks on this list are of my own opinion, but more of my Instagram followers and the picks of longtime friends of mine who have been teching on guns for years. I like to do these lists once in a while whenever a subject I come up with really bothers me, so there's your incentive to go follow me on my Instagram at USAirsoft YouTube, so you can let me know your thoughts on future countdowns. Alright, so now that we're done with all the self-promoting, here we go. The first picks are the PSG-1 and the XM8. Here are a couple rifles that have been made once before, as Tokamuri made the PSG-1 and SRC made the XM8, but despite both of these rifles still being on the market after 10 years each, their construction hasn't differed much over the years. Tokamuri's PSG-1 gets a bit of a pass, being as TM just can't turn out full metal AEGs due to the strict Japanese replica gun laws there. But imagine a company like LCT one day releasing a full steel model with all the details of the real rifle included. LCT really knocked it out of the park with the LC3 G3 line in just about every way. So if the same could be done with the PSG-1, then it's a closed case. It would be really heavy, practically a boat anchor, and it would be expensive. There's no way really around that. But if an LCT PSG-1 went up on the market for, let's say, $750, that would grab my attention more than the limited edition G28s by VFC did. As for the XM8, I'm really surprised that the SRC model is still available. I'm also surprised that you can even order one right now in all the popular color schemes as well. However, if it got a remake to improve the weak plastic body and just ramp up the performance, I'd say I'd want an Ares model. I know that's blasphemy to a lot of techs out there, as I'm told that Ares internals are hell to work on, but despite that, I've never had any problems with an Ares gun myself. I just really like the exterior build quality of my full-size G36, so I'd expect the same if an Ares XM8 existed. I just want a stronger bodied XM8 and a PSG-1 that I don't have to baby so much. Those days of airsoft are gone, where it was alright for your guns to creak and bend and to feel like something you'd buy at a gas station as a cheap last-minute gift for a birthday for some kid that you don't even know the gender of. Just give me a strong body with great long range capability with the PSG-1 and much deserved internals and externals for the XM8. Or, hey, thinking about it now, Tokamuri could maybe do the XM8 justice. Next up is two of the most hated guns that a lot of techs I've talked to say they've worked on, the FAMAS and the AUG. Why do these guns always have the weirdest problems? They just seem to break down in the stupidest ways, especially AUGs. And that doesn't matter if it's the ASG model, the JG, the Classic Army, or even the old Tokamuris. I've seen them all broken in such ridiculous ways. The FAMAS is even in a worse boat since it's either the Tokamuri or the Cybergun models to choose from. And they've been around for so long without any updates to their bodies, so the build quality is far from high-end to today's standard. Cybergun was getting my hopes up with the Evo model that I saw at SHOT Show 2017, but I'm beginning to think that it will never release. Watch, now that I say that in this video, it will release. The FAMAS Evo felt like a high-end FAMAS, and all the materials felt great even for a prototype. The FAMAS makes for a great newbie gun, however I want a high-end version as well as for the AUG, preferably in the A1, the A3 with standout capabilities, and why not the H-bar while I'm dreaming. The FAMAS can get a MOSFET with 3-round burst capabilities and maybe the option for using M4 mags, while the AUG can be an overhaul inside with much preferred beefier internals and options for different barrel setups. Or what else do you think I'm missing? What would these two bullpups need for longtime airsofters to accept? What would you want to be better with these two platforms? Or just let me know if I got this completely wrong in the comments, because for me, and a lot of other people where I'm from, seeing these rifles in the scrap bin is seen way too often, which is a shame since I personally like both platforms. Alright, here's a couple of good picks. I'm going to tell you guys why two WE rifles are on this list, but then again you could probably throw a bunch of old WE tech guns in this segment, but the WE M14 and the WE M16 series really need a proper remake. It sucks when the only gas blowback M14 and M16A1 have such problems as notorious leaky magazines, cooldown problems, weak nozzles, overall terrible quality control, and even in my case, weak receivers that resulted in an explosion.
CO2 I need them now.
But hey, this rifle still won Best Gun of the Year once.
Somehow.
The M16s may not be as bad, but they're far from perfect, as they love to have leaking magazines. I've seen 3 WE M14s and 2 M16s from WE over the years of me playing and being involved in the airsoft world, and none of the owners were happy with them. Yeah, they thought they were cool at first, but the end result is a lot of problems. And having to dump more money than what the base rifle costs to make it work as it should have when it left the factory is unacceptable. You should be able to buy something and have it work properly, and that's it. And that goes for just about everything out there in the world. And a lot of those older WE rifles completely missed that mark. The G36s they put out a while back ago kind of passed though. I've seen a few of those out in the wild and the owners love them. Overall, I'm talking to a really small niche of players in the grand scheme of things, but the thought of having a gas blowback M16A1 or maybe an A4 that kicks really hard and gathers some nice attention is awesome. But then when your bolt for whatever reason locks every time it's fired just by having rounds in the magazine, you'd probably get a little mad about the waste of money that you'll be taking back to your car as the game continues on the field. I probably sound a little bit too happy for what I'm talking about.
There you go guys, 3 years, still shoot great.
Right out of one small niche of guns into another, we have World War II replicas. I know that's a bit of a broad area to go over, but if we went down the list of not so well built World War II airsoft guns, then we would have the STG-44 or MP-44, the Sten, the MP-40, all of which are made from AGM, which have to be babied to an extent, and God forbid anything breaks on the exterior because replacement parts are a bit unexistent. The ICS Grease Gun and the M1 Garand are pretty good guns, but on the other hand, you have the S&T MG42 and a lot of the M1918 BARs. I've seen so many S&T MG42s with parts just missing and quickly put together fixes to hold something onto the gun, and no one in the industry I've talked to can really recommend them. I remember even being told by a rep from a large company that they look nice, but I don't think they were meant to actually be played with. The G&G GMG42 is a solid monster of a gun, and I'd take one of those over a minigun any day, but you really have to pay for its high-end quality at about $1,700. And the S&T is at the opposite end of that. It'll be awesome when it arrives at your door, but I hope you don't plan on actually playing with it like an action hero on the field, unless you have a box ready for all the parts that fall off and out of it. The M1918 BARs also have their list of problems. I have some of the worst feeding issues with mine, which I hear is pretty common amongst owners. No mid-caps exist for this gun, and the metal that the BARs are made from, except for the old VFC model, is pretty weak. But how can both of these be made better? Well, for one, make the magazines actually reliable, and it would be nice to have some mid-caps for the BAR. The bodies also need a major upgrade in the metal that's used to craft them. Maybe use steel in some of the key areas like the weak spots where parts normally break, or just make those parts steel. An upgraded gearbox for the MG42 and the BAR would be pretty great too, and give the BAR a better hop up and barrel so that the long barrel that the M1918 sports can be actually useful. I like to see World War II guns get a major quality control and construction buff over the next couple years. However, the real question that determines all of this is, would any of the manufacturers make a profit off of that? I mean, I'd love to see the old Maruzen gas blowback M1 Garands back in production, but that ain't happening. If you're a World War II player, please comment down below your thoughts on this topic about your own gun. How could your M1, your MP40, grease gun, or whatever be better? How can it perform better? How can it just be a better gun? I'd love to read your wish lists. Now we're at the end of this list, and the number one pick should be pretty obvious since these things are always at the bottom of the barrel anytime I've seen them on the field. It's the M60. No, it's the Uzi. Yeah, people really want to see the Uzis and AEPs be made better. I never thought I'd see the day where so many people would be wishing for an AEP Uzi to make a comeback, but here are the comments. I can understand AEPs fully. I'd love to run a pair of JG VZ61 Scorpions, but I'd know I'd have to really behave myself with them. They just aren't built very well. These things are cheap, their magazines are cheap, their range is pretty terrible as far as I've seen, but you can do a lot with a good AEP. A lot of times when people hear AEP, they think of a crap gun, and for the most part, those thoughts are pretty legitimate. I'd love to run a full-sized Uzi, but no, I'm not going to run your low-powered plastic gun from Well. I'd love to really have a Tokamuri Uzi since they did it right, but those things are pretty much collector's guns now. Give me a full steel Uzi with an underfolder stock, properly placed controls, and some Hebrew on the body, and a good gearbox inside, and some room for a normal battery, and I'm happy. If I could, I'd put a full-powered LiPo battery in it, and grab a pack of mid-caps, and I'd be just pleased with myself. Then do the same for Glocks, and maybe some new M93 Replicas, and why not start putting out some old SMGs like the MPL, the PM63, MAC-10s, and make a PP2000. Before you know it, we would have techs going out there just going wild trying to get the highest rate of fire out of their now reliable and tough AEPs. Maybe we'll be able to even hit something past 100 or even 150 feet. Then I won't need to pray for a lucky day where I can find a full-size TM Uzi for sale in good condition. I'm sure that I miss a lot of guns that are pretty terrible now that need to be remade right, but this was a quick list, and the fans on the USAirsoft Instagram really helped me out with it. I'm sure that I stepped on a few toes here and there, but that's alright with me. Just voice your thoughts in the comments and try to defend your gun if you feel I did you wrong. Or go ahead and spank that like button to help this video past 500 likes if you don't mind helping me out. I'll probably do another episode on this topic very soon, but I really want to get a loadout countdown started and finished, and then maybe a countdown over a few guns that we wish weren't discontinued. The Maruzen M1 Garand will probably fit well in that countdown. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this countdown. I now have a trip to Dallas, Texas to get underway, so until that next video drops from the city of San Antonio, this has been Scott Hollenbeck, and I will be sure to see you all next time.
You went in the white building.
If you really like yourself an XM8, I bet you're crying now.